So we're going into mother and son, as we know Mason. That's what it derives from, right? So we're dealing with intake, output openings of the physical body. As we examine, we have female on the left, male on the right. And we're going to do a little comparison and analysis. Pretty much in the head, the 7 chambers, right? 2 holes in the eye, 2 holes in the ear, dealing with intake, 2 nostrils, dealing with intake and output. In the mouth are the 7 chambers of the head. The same thing happens in the male. But as we transition down, we have 2 mammary glands or output glands in the empress. Males don't have that. Both have the navel, right? So let's transition down. The navel dealing with intake and output, closed. Gateway to support energy sources upon arrival on the physical plane. Once again, both male and female have those commonalities. Now we go down south. We have 3 for the female. 1, anal, dealing with output. That's something we both have in common. But now we have the urethra dealing with output, and the vaginal/birth canal dealing with intake and output, right? And then, of course, it's output for the males, the urethra/the penis for the output. So in total, we have 13 for the female, 13 openings for the female, 10 for the male. And how many moon cycles are there?
13.
Okay.
13.
Okay. Now we're tracking. We're definitely tracking. Definitely tracking. Getting somewhere. Now we're dealing with the living temple. Dealing with cell salts corresponding to the body. So we got Aries dealing with the head, and the cell salt is Kali phosphorium, most commonly known as potassium phosphate. We got Taurus dealing with the throat. And of course, these are the 180-degree opposites on the white right here. The cell salt is natrium sulfurum, commonly known as sodium sulfate. We have Gemini dealing with the shoulders and arms, 180-degree opposite Sagittarius. Cellular tissue salt, Kali muriaticum, commonly known as potassium chloride. Cancer, dealing with the chest, 180-degree opposite Capricorn. Cell salt for that sign, calcium fluoride. Leo, dealing with the heart, 180-degree opposite is Aquarius. Cell salt for Leo, magnesium phosphate. Virgo, dealing with the stomach or intestine, 180-degree opposite Pisces. Cell salt for Virgo, Kali sulfurum, commonly known as potassium sulfate. Libra, dealing with the kidneys and ovaries, 180-degree opposite Aries. Cell salt, natrium phosphorium, commonly known as sodium phosphate. Scorpio, dealing with the genitals and rectum, the elimination organs. The cell salt for Scorpio, calcium sulfate, 180-degree opposite Taurus. Sagittarius, dealing with the hips, thighs, 180-degree opposite Gemini. The cell salt for Sagittarius is silica. And let me phrase this a different way. This is the natural cell salt that gets produced for that sign. That's how I should be phrasing it. Capricorn, dealing with the knees or the legs. 180-degree opposite, Cancer. The cell salt that this sign produces in the body is called calcium phosphate. Aquarius, dealing with the ankles. 180-degree opposite, Leo. Cell salt for etc. Natrium mercurium, commonly known as sodium chloride. Pisces, dealing with the feet. 180-degree opposite, Virgo. Cell salt, ferrum phosphorus. Take 3 cell salts after your sign daily for a healthier body. Cell salts are mineral constituents of the physical body to be taken for maintenance or when having ailments of specific body parts. Utilize the art of reflection or cause and effect, 180-degree polar reflections. Cause is an opposite body part. Keep these things in the front of your mind as we're navigating every day. Any questions before I move forward? Or anything you want to kind of analyze? Thoughts? All right. So I'm gonna move forward. From my crown to my pedestal, I stand. Keep in mind that the previous 2 slides as we analyze this. So we have Zodiacus, or the circle, or church. In that you see the Moabitus in the yoga stance. But keep in mind the body that we just saw standing upright, it still applies. Because as you can see, Aries, beginning with the head, it's in linear, right? And then Libra, dealing with the kidneys, it's still 180-degree opposite. It's still in harmony. Another example, right? Virgo, Virgin, dealing with the stomach, it's still in that degree. And the opposite, dealing with the feet, Pisces, right? It's still in harmony. Any questions on this?
No, but I have a comment. Depending on which part of the month you're born into, you might have to take, like if you're on a cusp or something like that, you might have to take a cell salt for that one as well, because you're not getting the full month of either one.
Right. And the same thing for people that are premature. They might got to take
exactly
for cell salts.
Do you have to take the opposite too?
I was just about to ask that. Would you take the sea salt for your polarity sign too?
Well,
you would take all of them.
All cell salts are good, but specifically the 3 signs after whoever signed, that's the ones you specifically.
So you don't get those.
You don't get those. You need those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all of them are good. So yeah, make sure you get the primaries for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna continue if there's no questions. All right. So everybody please mute until you have something to say. Islam. So Women, Know Thyself by David Sinclair. Before you can know who you are, you must first know what you are. Forces of nature create patterns of matter. Male and female are patterns of matter. Thus, they are forces of matter. So we have an example: neutron, proton, and electron. I guess an electronic field that would equate to, I guess Amu can attest to this, neutral or ground or positive, negative, right?
Yes, sir.
Islam Wardell, happy holiday.
Islam, happy holiday, Moise.
Happy holiday, Wardell. Happy holiday, Blaze. Peace, man.
Islam.
All right, so moving forward, the same ratio are neutron, proton, electron, the principle of mutable, fixed, and cardinal. It applies. And the principle of asexual, female, and male applies or equates. Why do I say that? If anyone doesn't know what asexual means, I would look it up. But we're dealing with things latent, or it's not active, or it's not an urge for the male and female to want to, or have offspring. That urge is not there. It's laid dormant. So it would be neutral, considered neutral. And of course, we have female and male corresponding to the proton and electron, or positive and negative. So it's always a ground, positive and negative. It's always a trinity. The world of living things can generally be divided into 3 different categories: asexual, right, egg and sperm; 2, female, dealing with the egg; 3, male, dealing with the sperm. Lord God created man first because Lord God needed someone to work in the garden, paraphrasing Genesis 2nd chapter, verse 7 and 8. It is much easier to get a sperm to cooperate than an egg. In the case of the woman, she has a 28-day cycle, and the moon has a 28-day cycle. This is no coincidence. PMS gives meaning to the term lunatic. Now, most people would think, growing up, most people think, oh, lunatic is like, oh, somebody crazy or lost their mind or whatever, crazy. But as us scientists and scholars and noble Moors that created, the liberal arts and all that stuff, we know etymology. So we can see lunatic and be like, there's Luna in that word. And we just talked about a 28-day cycle. We just talked about earlier when we popped it off, all right, how woman and the moon cycle is synonymous. So it would make sense that women having PMS would be lunatics, right? I'm just saying.
That right there? Or is that you just finished that with your own little one too?
I'm just saying, does anybody any rebuttal to what I said? Is it like anybody disagree?
Nah, you're
Yeah.
correct, Aki.
It makes
Matter of
sense.
fact, that suffix IC means anything having to do with, so it could be anything having to do with the moon. So yeah, you're right.
All right. I'll move forward. Lord God's joke is that men are stupid and women are crazy, right? Dealing with the lunatic connotatively, dealing with the crazy aspect. If you want to see some of the stupid things that men do, check out, here's a website, www.darwinwars.com, because the female is responsible for raising the young. Nature has endowed the female with the best eyesight, the best hearing, the best smell, the best taste, the best feeling, the best reflexes, and the best cunning. In any 24-hour period on planet Earth, the majority of the killing will be done by predators, will be done by female. They are the natural born killers at birth, and once they bear their young, they are even more focused and motivated. The embodiment of the nurturing mother and the Black Widow, all in one. In the Oriental culture, before the gun, the best weapons of war were the sword and the bow and arrow. Such weapons can be made fit to the size of the user. In order to protect their lives, the men had to pass laws that forbid women from carrying swords. Superior weapons in the hands of women is the subject of 2 movies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Kill Bill, Part 1 and 2. Just imagine Serena Williams with a sword instead of a tennis racket. If a woman with a sword meets a man with a sword, he is dead meat unless the man knows more than the woman about swinging a sword, etc. The founder of the Wing Chun Kung Fu system, Miss Yim Wing Chun, and please look her up because she's connected to a dynasty of Moors. So the founder of the Wing Chun Kung Fu system, Miss Yim Wing Chun, was a native of Canton, Kwangtung province in China. And when you look them up, when you look her up and do due diligence, you'll see she's part of what they call Manchuria, which is more ancient. You're gonna see they mention that hella times. The martial arts legend Bruce Lee thought so much of the Wing Chun Kung Fu system that it became the foundation he used to build his own style of Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do. With any social grouping of females, there is usually an alpha class female. Among bees, there is one queen, the alpha class female, to a hive. Before the end of her life, the worker bees, which are female, feed royal jelly to a number of eggs in order to produce a new queen. The first queen to hatch kills the other queens. Queens are also found among ants, termites, wasps, and hornets. In wolf packs, only the alpha female mates. The other females of the pack help the alpha female raise the young. The alpha female is the builder of civilizations. Queendom crosses the line between nature and culture. Among human beings, some women are alpha female queens. I like using empresses. And some are workers, Cinderellas. How do you know you are an alpha female? When an alpha female scores a man on a scale from 1 to 10, and she finds that the highest score she can give any man is around 3, because she realizes that one man cannot satisfy all of her needs. That same 3 would be a Cinderella's 8. A movie that characterizes an alpha female is a I'm No Angel story, screenplay and dialogue by Mae West. Budweiser did a series on the Warrior Queen of Africa, the Warrior Queens of Africa. They have a link, but of course we can't click this. This is a PDF. Any questions on the multiple examples given to show the alpha woman? All right, I'll move forward. All right, so here's our back to what we read before we got into the piece with the alpha woman. We see we have neutral, positive, and negative. The center, the left side of the center, and the right side of the center. So when you're dealing with the circle and dealing with the one, you're still dealing with the trinity. Once again, to drill home the concept, we're dealing with the neutron, proton, and electron, and how that corresponds to a sexual inactivity, basically, no desire to want to mate. That's, I'm trying to give different examples. Female and male. So once again, I pretty much said it, but right here is expressing transmutation. The one becomes two. Duality is a three-part equation. So, we're dealing with a circle, split that in half and make it two, right? We're dealing with duality. It got two parts, but remember it's split in half. So that down the middle, neutral. So it's three parts. Other examples dealing with, people that took geometry, dealing with, pretty much mapping out coordinates, right? Dealing with the negative side of a latitude or degrees of latitude, and you're dealing with the right side of the degrees of latitude, or let's say, or in longitude, etc. And then based on those two coordinates of longitude and latitude, you'll pinpoint a location. But it's the same principles. Because to even make the graph, to even start doing the coordinates, you have to set it up like this. And if you got 0 degrees, then you got -1, -2. That's how they look at it. And then +1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing up, positive and negative, etc. So think of that as the equator if you're thinking about the Earth. Then you got the North and South Pole. And people that, submarine, do the submarine drivers and people that navigate the sea, they know this by heart. The ancient people, us, the Moors knew this by heart, how to navigate the seas using these principles. Once again, just to drill home another example, we dealing with the yang and the yin, or the yin and the yang, however you want to say it, right? Isn't this the yin and the yang? Look at this in a circle. Same principle, but people forget about the zen part. Zen would be the neutral. And I don't know if y'all, it's people from different age groups on this call, but Phil Jackson, the coach for the Bulls and the Lakers, they used to give him a nickname and call him the Zen Master because he would burn a sage and all that. But, Zen, when you look it up, is dealing with channeling a peaceful state, right? So neutral, you want to be in a neutral, calm state. And then the polar opposites would be the yang and the yin, right? So never forget about the neutral aspect. And then we can apply this to cardinal, mutable, and fixed, right? All right. So I am the universal womb of man, woman. I am man, the womb of man, womb man. I produce both male and female offspring. Man always means male and female. So man always means male and female. I recreate myself by myself. I have within me my divine nature, the eggs of life. All women do. As has been historically debated about the chicken and the egg. It does not matter whether the chicken or the egg came first. They are both female and all eggs are female. I wanted to broaden my experience in the physical, so I split myself and manifested the male principle of the physical plane from my female eggs and manifested him, my sons, to expand the boundaries of knowledge, expression, evolution, and pleasure. I, from ancient times, split myself, just as an original cell duplicates itself, the daughter cell, for life purposes. I am not only the conceiver of the offspring, children, but I am also the conceiver of creative ideas, culture, and the principles of and instruction for civilization. My sons are willing, able, and prepared to carry out these governing principles of civilization. I extended myself so deep into the pleasures of the lower self that I lost the acknowledgement of balance that must exist as dedicated in nature, as dictated in nature. Still, all that my sons do, they do for me, womb man. From the ancient of ancients and our evolution from their hermaphrodite form, I have been searching for what was lost and missing. I refer to my balanced and reflected masculine counterpart from my other half. When I can find him, he will be my soulmate. I say this because he is of my soul making. From this point forward, I will raise and teach my sons to have a greater respect for womanhood and to honor and respect me. If I do not, I will unconsciously do harm to him and myself, as I have already done. Only when I am balanced and fully aware of who I am, can he be assured that I will do no harm and will nurture all that I have produced. I love my sons, and in quest to return to the higher planes of life for all of humanity, I work to achieve the perfected and balanced natural union of male and female. And this was being dedicated to all the mothers, sisters, and daughters. Any questions, comments? Was it informative? Anything?
Definitely informative. So, now it's just, as a woman feeling more empowered now, with all that, even though it's like you already know that, but just hearing, reading it and you see it more and more, it just gives you more of like that power.
That's beautiful. Because that's what it was intended for. You know what I'm saying? To have y'all, the emphasis, have that thirst is to be competent and want to put things in order. The world gonna be a different place.
Right, exactly.
Anybody else got any thoughts or anything they would like to share based on what was talked about? Or just in general?
Oh yeah, I'll say something. It's all silent. Um, yeah, I just feel like I love what you were saying about the women. We definitely want to uplift them. And it just goes back to what Tupac said, man, it's time to kill for our women and heal our women and be real with our women. And that's what I try to do with my moms, Mom's is going through some health issues, but I've just been taking care of her every day. It could get stressful a little bit. I've been doing this for like 5 years, but I just go ham for moms because, you only get one mom. You can have 2 or 3 girlfriends. You can have 2 or 3 wives, but you only gonna get one mom. You know what I'm saying? So you always gotta love your moms. So I like that. My son, now my mom's youngest son, and I be riding for her, man. I be like, the whole family turned their back against her, but I'm the last warrior. I'm the last samurai. So yeah.
Islam, man. Islam.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. That's what it's about, man. It touches your heart chakra when you hear the truth. It's very humbling. The whole nine.
A while ago, I took a acid strip on a full moon, and I out of nowhere I felt like this entity where I felt like this deep hatred for women, and I was stuck in a real negative loop. And the only thing that brought me out of it was I kept telling myself, like, nah, that's mom's. That's mom's right there. No matter what she did, it doesn't matter. That's mom's. And I think that was the first time I was able to get out of a negative